This is the story of Zacchaeus. Our story opens with Zacchaeus starting out the day collecting taxes.
Master, the people are waiting to pay their taxes. Shall I let them begin coming in?
Yes, yes. Let's get on with this.
My master, Zacchaeus, is ready to receive you now. Please come this way as I call your name.
Yes, he's ready to receive us and receive our money for Rome and a bit more for himself.
Watch your tongue, Simon. I've heard things about him. If he gets it in for you, you'll pay a lot more.
I won't watch my tongue. I know how much I have to pay, and I'm not going to pay a farthing more.
Look, Mary, Joseph's widow. Come and see the good tax collector.
Master, this is Mary, the widow of Joseph, come to pay her taxes.
The widow of Joseph. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you before, because it was with your husband that I always dealt.
My husband has been dead for 6 months, so now I must tend to all the business.
Yes, your husband was not a very willing man when it came to paying taxes. Is his widow more cooperative?
I will pay what a good Israelite should to the government as Jesus commanded. He said, "Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's."
I've heard much about this carpenter's son from Galilee. Is he now trying to meddle in the affairs of the government?
I know nothing of this. I only know that I love to hear him teach, and he has brought much comfort to me.
I do not have time to spend on this. Jesus, pay your tax to Rome. Your tax is 5 pieces of silver.
But, sir, I am a widow now, and I have my children to care for.
Enough. You have a house, don't you?
Yes, that is all that I have.
Then sell your house and pay your tax.
If I sell the house, where will we live?
That is no concern of mine. 1 week. 1 week I'll give you. In 1 week, you have your taxes paid.
That thieving little short viper. Widows do not have to pay that much, not even half that much. Rome is more merciful than our own Jewish tax collectors.
Simon, be careful what you say. It looks like you're next.
Master, this is Simon of Jericho to pay his tax.
Simon of Jericho, according to the law of Rome, you owe 7 pieces of silver.
I will pay 5.
Oh, you will pay 5?
That's all the law requires, and you know it. The extra's for your pocket.
Guards! Seize this man. How dare him accuse me of stealing? Now I'm a kind man. If you cannot pay, I will allow you to stay in prison until you can pay.
Take your hands off me. For the sake of my family, I will pay 7 pieces of silver. Zacchaeus, I don't know how you can stand to live with yourself.
It was late in the day when Zacchaeus started home. The day's collections had taken him a little bit longer to count, plus the extra time it took him to put aside his share, which was above what the people owed the government of Rome. Yes, he thought to himself, it had been a good day, except for that one bit of threatened trouble with Simon of Jericho. Simon's comment just wouldn't leave his mind.
Zacchaeus, I don't know how you can stand to live with yourself.
He thought to himself, well, Simon, I stand it quite nicely, thank you. I have the largest house in Jericho, and in the best location, some son, and a lovely daughter. Let's go on with our story and see how well he does stand it.
You are Zacchaeus, the tax collector?
Yes, I am.
Here are my father's taxes. He is Daniel, the stonemaker.
Thank you. Hi there, son. How was your day?
Fine, Father. Did you have a good day?
So good that my appetite is like a crocodile's. Does your mother have supper ready?
It's all prepared. She sent me to see what was keeping him. She was afraid.
Afraid? Afraid of what?
She thought there might be some trouble.
Trouble? That is ridiculous. Everybody knows that collecting taxes is not a very pleasant job, but look what goes with it.
I know all that, Father, but...
But what?
Couldn't you get another job? Couldn't you do something else?
And perhaps give up this fine home?
Well, maybe then we could have friends.
But Joel, we do have friends.
Only other tax collectors and their families.
Joel, you know this conversation is getting us nowhere. Shall we go in and have supper?
Yes, Father.
How long has your father been a tax collector? Too long. I know what you mean. Do you have many friends? Only children of other tax collectors. I wish my father would get another job doing anything except collecting taxes. Wow, it's late. I better be going. Bye. Bye. Mom, I'm starving. When are you going to eat?
I saw your father and Joel coming down the road. We'll eat soon.
Oh, Zacchaeus, I'm so glad you're home. I was getting worried.
No need for concern, Leah. I had a very busy day today, and I had to count all the money before I could come home.
Hi, Father.
How's my favorite little girl today?
Guess what, Father?
Let me see. You did very well in school today.
No, Father. I had a friend come over today, and her name is Mary. Miriam, the wife of the new tax collector that just came to Jericho, came to see me today, and her daughter Mary came with her.
Oh, that was very nice. You see, Joel, we do have friends.
What?
Never mind. Something Joel and I were talking about on the way home. What about Miriam's visit?
She came to ask if we had, difficulty here in Jericho because of your job.
Why, that is ridiculous. Difficulty because of my job.
She said her husband was accused of cheating, of increasing the tax, and then putting the extra aside for himself.
Oh? Why should he be accused of doing something like that?
They said he was a cheat and a thief, like the chief tax collector Zacchaeus.
How dare they say such a thing?
Zacchaeus, tell me it isn't true, please. It's bad enough that you've given up your faith in God to gather taxes for Rome.
You complain about what I have done, but look what it has brought to us. Look at how we live. Look at who we are.
Who are we, Zacchaeus? We live in luxury, true, but we are despised. Your children are treated rudely, and your wife is ignored in the market.
Something tells me that this whole thing has come about because of the teaching of this Galilean. He should be jailed.
But I have heard wonderful things that he has done. He fed thousands of people with a little boy's lunch, and he even raised a girl from the dead, and...
Enough of this talk. I will hear no more.
Zacchaeus refused to eat anything and stormed out of the room despite Leah's pleading. That night, sleep would not come for Zacchaeus. He paced the floor for hours and finally sat on the bed. The words of Simon kept pounding in his ears.
I don't know how you can stand to live with yourself.
Leah woke and found Zacchaeus still awake.
Is the storm keeping you awake, my husband?
It isn't the storm that is keeping me awake.
Zacchaeus, I'm sorry for the words I spoke to you last night. I did not mean to upset you. I was only concerned. I should not have accused you of cheating. I know you would not do that. Please, try to get some rest. You'll be sick.
Leah, you did not falsely accuse me.
You mean?
Yes, the chief tax collector, whose name means pure, is a cheat and a thief, and what's more, he is stealing from his people. The more the people ignore me because of my job, the more I want to get back at them. So I add a little bit to this tax and a little bit to that.
I do not know what to say.
Yesterday, someone said that they did not know how I lived with myself. I laughed it off then, but now, the burden and the weight, I can't live with it.
Perhaps there is hope in Jesus.
Jesus, he is only a carpenter's son.
I believe he is far more than that. I even heard him speak one day. He told a story about a Pharisee and a tax collector who went up to the temple to pray.
And what happened?
The Pharisee told God all about the good things that he had done, how he had fasted and given to the poor.
Well, the tax collector, he could not go up to the temple?
Jesus said he stood afar off, and all he said was, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. And Jesus said the tax collector went home justified.
Justified? Forgiven? Oh, Leah, you do not know how much I would give to be forgiven.
As Jesus entered the city of Jericho, a blind man had placed himself by the gate where Jesus passed. When the blind man heard the people calling out the name of Jesus, he shouted out to him. When Jesus heard this, he asked the blind man what he wanted. The blind man wanted his sight, and because of his faith, Jesus healed him. Jesus then continued on through the streets of Jericho.
Father, Father, it's Jesus. He has come to Jericho. I was just down at the gate. Remember the blind man that always sat near it?
Yes, he's been there for years.
Well, he isn't there no more. He can see. Jesus healed him.
You saw this happen?
I was right there.
I must see him. Which way is he coming?
Right this way. There's a big crowd with him.
I'll never get to see him. I'm so short.
There's a big sycamore tree over there. You could get up in it.
A tree? But I haven't climbed trees for years.
Father, do you want to see Jesus?
All right. I must see him.
Jesus saw Zacchaeus up in a tree and asked him to come down because he was going to stay at his house that day.
Yes, of course I will come down. I will be honored for you to come to my house.
After spending some time in Zacchaeus' house, Jesus came out with Zacchaeus and Leah.
Lord, I will give half of my goods to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay them back 4 times the amount.
Did you hear that? He's going to pay back everyone he cheated.
Yeah, and give half of his money to the poor. What's happened to him?
Zacchaeus, today salvation has come to your house.
You know, there's a good lesson in this story. Actually, if we had time, we could find many. But the most important is that Jesus offers salvation to anyone who will accept it. And when Jesus comes into a life, he changes the whole person, no matter what he or she has done in the past. Jesus makes the difference.